August 24, 1993. Century Plaza Hotel, Los Angeles. The mob outside was screaming for blood. Not metaphorically, literally. 200 protesters holding signs that said, "Monster, child abuser, guilty." The allegations had been public for exactly 3 days, and already the world had decided Michael Jackson was guilty without trial, without evidence, without mercy. Inside the hotel, Michael sat in his suite with his legal team, his hands shaking, his world collapsing. Outside, Marcus Williams stood alone between the hotel entrance and a crowd that wanted to destroy the man he protected for 15 years. What happened in the next 17 minutes would leave Marcus in the hospital with a fractured skull, 3 broken ribs, and a face so swollen his own mother wouldn't recognize him. But it would also prove that sometimes, the people who stand between you and destruction aren't doing it for money. They're doing it because 15 years ago, you saw them when nobody else did. And that changes everything. Marcus Williams was 38 years old and had been Michael Jackson's head of personal security since 1978. 15 years of standing in shadows, scanning crowds, identifying threats before they became problems. 15 years of being invisible while protecting the most visible person on Earth. Marcus was 6'4", 240 pounds of pure muscle. Former Marine, former LAPD. He had the kind of presence that made people move out of the way without him saying a word. His face was stern, professionally neutral, showing no emotion because emotion was a liability in his line of work. But today, August 24, 1993, Marcus's professional mask was cracking because the crowd outside wasn't just aggressive, they were murderous. And Marcus had been doing this job long enough to know the difference between people who wanted to yell and people who actually wanted to hurt someone. This crowd wanted to hurt Michael Jackson badly. The allegations had broken 3 days ago. A 13-year-old boy, his father, accusations that made Marcus's stomach turn, not because he believed them, he didn't, not for a second, but because he knew what they would do to Michael. Knew how the media would crucify him, knew how the public would turn on him before hearing his side. Marcus had been with Michael through everything, through Thriller's success and the insanity that followed, through the Pepsi commercial accident and the burn unit visits, through the bad tour and the dangerous tour, and every moment in between. He'd seen Michael with children hundreds of times, had watched him interact with sick kids, scared kids, abused kids, had seen nothing but gentleness, compassion, and a childlike wonder that Michael had somehow maintained despite everything fame had done to him. But none of that mattered to the crowd outside. They'd read the headlines, they'd heard the accusations, and they'd already decided. Michael's lawyer, Johnny Cochran, was trying to arrange a secure exit. "We need to get Michael out of here now." The underground parking garage. "It's compromised," Marcus interrupted. "Protesters are already there. Someone leaked our exit strategy. Then what do you suggest?" Cochran's voice was sharp with stress. Marcus looked at the hotel room's windows, looked at Michael sitting on the couch, his head in his hands, his whole body shaking, looked at the man he'd spent 15 years protecting, now being destroyed by words and accusations and a media circus that wanted sensation more than truth. "Front entrance," Marcus said. "You're insane," Cochran responded. "The mob is at the front entrance. That's suicide. Not if I go first." Marcus's voice was calm. "Decided. I'll clear a path. Get the car right at the door. When I signal, you move Michael fast. He gets in the car, you drive. Don't stop for anything, Marcus. There are 200 people out there, and there's one of me." "I know." Marcus checked his equipment. Earpiece, radio, no weapons. He refused to carry guns around Michael, a policy he'd maintained for 15 years, despite other security personnel thinking he was crazy. "I've handled worse." That was a lie. He hadn't handled worse, but Michael needed to get out of this hotel, and the front entrance was the only viable option. Marcus walked to where Michael sat, knelt down so they were eye level. "Michael, hey, look at me." Michael raised his head. His eyes were red from crying. His face was pale, drawn, showing every ounce of the stress and fear and betrayal he was feeling. He looked broken, small, nothing like the confident performer who commanded stages in front of 100,000 people. I'm going to get you out of here, Marcus said quietly. But I need you to trust me. When I signal, you move fast. Don't look at the crowd. Don't listen to what they're saying. Just get to the car. Can you do that? Michael nodded weakly. Marcus, me we should just, we're not high. Marcus interrupted firmly. You didn't do anything wrong. We're walking out that door with your head up. You understand me? Head up. You're Michael Jackson. You don't hide. Something flickered in Michael's eyes. Not quite strength. Not quite hope. But not quite defeated either. Marcus stood. Looked at Cochran. Give me 3 minutes to clear the entrance. Then move. But Marcus was already walking toward the door, already preparing himself for what was coming, already accepting that the next few minutes were going to be the longest of his life. The hotel lobby was chaos. Hotel security trying to manage the situation, press trying to get inside. The sound of the mob outside filtering through the walls like a living thing screaming, chanting, demanding blood. Marcus walked to the front entrance. Through the glass doors, he could see them. 200 people, signs, anger, some throwing things at the building, some trying to push through the police barricade that was barely holding. He took a deep breath, keyed his radio, moving in 3, have the car ready. Then Marcus Williams pushed open the front doors and stepped into hell. The crowd's reaction was immediate. They saw the big black man in the dark suit and sunglasses, obviously security, obviously connected to Michael Jackson, and the noise tripled. Screaming, cursing, objects flying through the air. Marcus didn't flinch, walked forward with steady, deliberate steps, creating space, creating a path from the hotel door to where the car would pull up. Where is he? Bring out the monster. He should die. The words hit Marcus like physical blows. Not because they hurt him, he'd heard worse, but because he knew Michael could probably hear them from inside. Knew these words were destroying someone who was already fragile, already damaged by fame and pressure, and now this dot and an egg hit Marcus in the chest. Then a tomato, then something harder, a rock maybe, or a bottle that caught him in the shoulder. He kept walking, kept creating space. You protect a child molester. You're going to hell with him. How do you sleep at night? Marcus didn't respond, didn't engage, just positioned himself exactly where he needed to be between the hotel entrance and the worst of the crowd. Standing like a wall, immovable, the car pulled up. Black sedan, tinted windows, driver ready to floor it the second Michael was inside. Marcus keyed his radio. Now, move now. Through his peripheral vision, he saw the hotel doors open, saw Johnny Cochran and 2 other security guards surrounding Michael, saw Michael moving quickly, head down, trying to be invisible. The crowd saw him too. The sound was inhuman. 200 people surging forward, breaking through the police barricade like it wasn't there. Not protesters anymore. A mob. Dangerous. Violent. Marcus spread his arms, made himself bigger, made himself the target. You want him? Marcus's voice boomed across the chaos. You go through me first. And they tried. The first person to reach Marcus was a middle-aged woman, face twisted with rage, fingernails aiming for his eyes. Marcus deflected, pushed her aside without hurting her. The second was a man with a sign, swinging it like a bat. Marcus blocked, absorbed the blow with his forearm. But there were too many, way too many. Behind him, he could hear Cochran. Get in the car, Michael. Get in the car. Marcus couldn't turn around, couldn't check if Michael was safe, could only stand there taking blow after blow, grab after grab, keeping the mob's focus on him instead of the car behind him. A punch caught Marcus in the jaw, another in the ribs. Someone grabbed his jacket, tearing it. Someone else grabbed his arm. More people pressing in, screaming, hitting, pushing. Marcus went down, not intentionally, just overwhelmed by sheer numbers. On his knees on the concrete, people surrounding him, kicking, hitting. He heard the car door slam, heard the engine rev, heard tires squealing. Michael was safe. In the car, gone. That's all that mattered. But the mob didn't stop. They were beyond reason now. Someone kicked Marcus in the ribs hard enough that he heard something crack. Someone else hit him in the head with something heavy. His vision blurred, blood in his mouth, pain everywhere. Police finally waded in, pulling people off Marcus, creating space. But the damage was done. Marcus tried to stand. Couldn't. His legs wouldn't work right. His left eye was swelling shut. His ribs screamed every time he breathed. Blood running down his face from a cut on his forehead. Officer down. We need paramedics. One of the cops was calling it in. I'm not a cop, Marcus mumbled through split lips. You're going to the hospital, the officer said firmly. You're lucky you're not dead. Marcus managed a weak smile. Michael got away? Yeah, car's gone. He's safe. Good. Marcus let his eyes close. That's all that matters. Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Emergency room. Marcus lay on a gurney while doctors examined him, taking x-rays, cataloging damage. 3 broken ribs, fractured cheekbone, concussion, facial lacerations requiring stitches, severe bruising over 40% of his body. The doctor's report read like an assault victim, which, technically, Marcus was. You should file charges, the doctor said. This was aggravated assault by multiple assailants. No charges, Marcus said. His voice was rough, painful. Just do your job, doc. He'd been in the hospital for 3 hours when he heard the commotion in the hallway. Raised voices. Someone saying, "You can't go in there," and someone else saying, "Watch me." Then the curtain flew open, and Michael Jackson burst in, followed by 2 security guards trying to stop him and failing. Michael took one look at Marcus' face, swollen and discolored, bandages, monitors, IVs, and burst into tears. Oh God. Marcus. Oh God. Michael's voice was breaking. He rushed to the bedside, hands hovering like he wanted to touch, but was afraid of causing more pain. What did they do to you? What did they? I'm fine, Marcus interrupted. Tried to smile, but his split lip made it hurt too much. You should see the other guys. This isn't funny. Michael was crying harder now. You could have died. You almost died protecting me from people who hate me for something I didn't do. Michael. Why? Elle's voice rose, cracking with emotion. Why would you do this? Why would you put yourself between me and them? They could have killed you. Marcus looked at Michael, at this global superstar who was falling apart, whose world was collapsing, who was being destroyed by lies and allegations and a media circus that cared more about sensation than truth. And Marcus decided it was time to tell him something he'd never told him before. Do you remember 1978? Marcus asked quietly. Michael blinked, confused by the question. What? Chicago. November 1978. You were doing a concert, the Destiny Tour with your brothers. I was working security for the venue first week on the job. You remember? Michael shook his head. Marcus, I don't. I was the only black security guard they hired, Marcus continued. The security company wanted big white guys who looked intimidating. I barely got the job, and I was nervous, man, trying to prove myself, trying to show I belonged. Marcus shifted, wincing from the pain in his ribs. During the concert, there was a situation. Some fans rushed the stage. Dangerous situation. All the other guards were dealing with it. But one fan got through. Teenage girl, freaking out, trying to grab you. I was the only guard in position to stop her. I don't remember this, Michael said softly. I know. Because I handled it quietly. Got the girl away from you without hurting her. Without making a scene. Did my job. Marcus's good. I met Michael's. After the show, you came backstage. You walked right up to me. Everybody was surprised because you were Michael Jackson, and I was nobody. And you said, "Thank you for protecting that girl as much as you protected me." A lot of guards would have just tackled her, but you treated her with respect. Michael's tears were flowing freely now, listening. Then you asked my name, Marcus continued. Asked how long I'd been doing security. Asked if I liked the job. And then you said something that changed my life. You said, Marcus, I'm going solo soon. Starting my own career, and I'm going to need security I can trust. People who understand that everyone deserves dignity, even the people causing problems. Would you be interested in that job? Marcus's voice got quieter. You gave me a chance when nobody else would. The security company wanted to fire me, said I was too soft, because I didn't hurt that girl. But you hired me 15 years ago, gave me a job, gave me respect, treated me like I mattered. Marcus reached up with his less injured hand and grabbed Michael's hand. "That's why I stood in front of that mob today. That's why I'll stand in front of every mob. Because you saw me when nobody else did. You gave me dignity when the world told me didn't deserve it. And I will protect you until my last breath, because that's what loyalty means." Michael was openly sobbing now. He collapsed onto the side of Marcus's bed, careful not to hurt him, holding Marcus's hand with both of his. "I'm so sorry," Michael whispered. "I'm so sorry they hurt you. I'm sorry I brought this into your life. I'm sorry." "Stop," Marcus said firmly. "Don't apologize for being targeted by liars. Don't apologize for being innocent while the world calls you guilty. You didn't do anything wrong, Michael. Nothing. You hear me? But they hate me." Michael's voice was small, broken. "The whole world hates me." "No, not the whole world," Marcus corrected. "Not the people who actually know you. Not the people who've seen who you really are. The mob outside that hotel, they don't know you. They know headlines. They know accusations. They don't know the man who sees security guards as human beings, who treats children with gentleness, who changes lives without even realizing it." Marcus squeezed Michael's hand. "You're going to get through this. The truth is going to come out. And when it does, all those people screaming for your blood today are going to realize they were wrong. But until then, you've got people who believe in you, who know the truth, and who will stand between you and the mob, no matter what it costs." Michael stayed in that hospital room for 2 hours, just sitting there, holding Marcus's hand, not talking much, just being present. When the nurses finally insisted Michael had to leave so Marcus could rest, Michael stood slowly. "Marcus, I need you to know something. What you did today, taking those hits, protecting me, I'll never forget that. Never. Just doing my job," Marcus said. "No." Will's voice was firm. "That was more than a job. That was friendship. That was family. And I want you to know that you're not just my bodyguard. You're my brother. And I'm going to make sure everyone knows what you did." Marcus shook his head. "I don't need recognition." "I know you don't," Michael interrupted. "But you're getting it anyway, because the world needs to know that while they were screaming lies, someone was standing up for truth. Someone was willing to take a beating to protect an innocent man. And that person was you." Marcus Williams spent 8 days in the hospital recovering from his injuries. During that time, Michael Jackson paid for everything: the private room, the best doctors, around-the-clock care. He visited every single day, sometimes twice a day, bringing food, bringing movies, bringing his presence. More importantly, Michael made sure media knew what had happened. Not for publicity. Michael's publicist actually advised against it, saying it would draw more attention to the allegations. But Michael didn't care. He went on national television and told the story of Marcus Williams, the bodyguard who had literally taken a beating to protect him from a mob. "While the world was calling me a monster," Michael said during an interview with Oprah Winfrey, "Marcus Williams was proving that loyalty and friendship and truth still matter. He knew I was innocent. He didn't need a trial or evidence or proof. He knew me, and he put his body between me and people who wanted to hurt me. That's heroism. That's what real courage looks like." The public reaction was mixed. Some people praised Marcus. Others said he was foolish for protecting a child molester. But the story did something important. It reminded people that security guards, bodyguards, the people who stand in shadows, are human beings who make real sacrifices. Marcus returned to work 3 weeks after the incident, against doctors' orders, against Michael's protests. But Marcus insisted, "You need protection now more than ever." For the next 16 years, Marcus remained Michael Jackson's head of personal security. Through the trial, through the acquittal, through the continued media scrutiny and public judgment, through every difficult moment, they never talked about that day outside Century Plaza Hotel again. Didn't need to. It was understood. Marcus had proven his loyalty in the most visceral way possible. And Michael had proven that he valued that loyalty by standing up for Marcus when he could have stayed silent. When Michael Jackson died on June 25, 2009, Marcus Williams was one of 6 pallbearers at the funeral. He carried Michael's casket with tears streaming down his face, wearing the same stern expression he'd maintained for 31 years of protecting the man he'd called friend. At the funeral, Marcus was asked to speak. He walked to the podium slowly, his 54-year-old body still carrying the scars from that August day, and 1993 ribs that ached when it rained, a cheekbone that never quite healed right. I met Michael Jackson in 1978, Marcus began. I was nobody. He was already famous. But he treated me like I mattered, like I was worth his time and attention and respect. And that changed my life. Marcus paused, composed himself. People ask me if I regret taking those hits outside that hotel in 1993. If I regret putting myself between Michael and that mob. And my answer is always the same. I'd do it again. I'd do it 1,000 times. Because standing up for an innocent person, standing between truth and lies, standing with someone when the whole world turns against them, that's not something to regret. That's something to be proud of. Michael Jackson was my friend, Marcus continued. Not my employer, not my boss, my friend. And when you love someone, when you truly believe in them, you don't abandon them when things get hard. You stand with them. You protect them. You take the hits so they don't have to. Marcus looked at Michael's casket. I couldn't protect you from everything, Michael. Couldn't protect you from the lies, from the pain, from the things that ultimately took you from us. But I protected you when I could. And I'd do it all again. Because you deserved it. Because you were innocent. Because you were good. And because 31 years ago, you saw a security guard and made him feel like he mattered. Today, Marcus Williams is 69 years old and retired. He lives quietly in Los Angeles, far from the spotlight. He rarely gives interviews. He declined multiple offers to write a tell-all book about his years with Michael Jackson. Some things are private, Marcus says when asked. Some friendships are too important to profit from. But in his living room, there's a photo taken in 1978. A very young Michael Jackson standing next to a very young Marcus Williams backstage after a concert, both smiling, both unaware that this moment would become the foundation of a 31-year friendship. And next to that photo is a framed letter, written in Michael's distinctive handwriting. Marcus, August 24, 1993. You took a beating meant for me today. You stood between me and hatred. You protected me when the world wanted to destroy me. I will never forget that. You are not my bodyguard. You are my brother, and I love you. MJ, that letter is Marcus's most prized possession, worth more than any paycheck, any recognition, any fame by association, because it represents something rare in this world: true loyalty, true friendship, true courage to stand for truth when lies are louder. Marcus Williams took a beating for Michael Jackson, but he gained something infinitely more valuable. He proved that some people still believe in standing up for what's right, even when the whole world is screaming that you're wrong. And sometimes, that's the most important thing any of us can do.